there's so much information out there, and
Yeah.
I doubt that half of it is even correct. Like, can like you just make anything an Airbnb?
The short answer is no. And Alex, we could do a 3-hour podcast on this. And this is this is kind of also my hot button issue because I've been working in this and watching the different jurisdictions make decisions and writing reports about it and writing articles about it. So I have a bunch of information on this, but I'm going to give you high level. The short term rental industry is under fire, and it's happened because of affordability, kind of the start of it. We know that housing affordability is an issue in Colorado, but really everywhere across the nation. When you have 35,000 total properties in a community, we don't have a lot of properties. So local government leaders have jumped on the bandwagon. There's different people, there's different organizations and governments doing this across the country, but kind of pointing the finger at short-term rentals being the problem or a problem in taking housing out of the stock that would be available for locals, for local use or more affordable housing. Okay, so that's the bottom line. We're seeing the Colorado legislature. We'll talk about that bill in a minute. We're seeing it there, but we've definitely seen it in our local government. So in Summit County, the trickery is that there are 7 different jurisdictions that govern these rules. So we have 7 sets of rules. Okay.
That sounds fun.
It's fun. We literally have a flow chart for this that we share with people. If we're saying, okay, if you want to try to dissect the short-term rental situation, here's the procedure you need to follow. So within those 7 different jurisdictions, if it depends on where your property sits, in which jurisdiction it sits, then you're going to be subject to different rules. And the strictest rules right now are in Summit County unincorporated. And then Breckenridge has 4 zones. So zones 2 and 3. Those are the places where it's really the hardest, or it's going to take years and years to get a short-term rental license. So what we do, and I'm just not going to talk about those details anymore, but the way we help clients is we will say, okay, must you have a short-term rental? Must your property be able to short-term rent? And if the answer is yes, then we just put searches, we create searches for them that only have those properties. And then they're limited to that. And then they understand that what they're seeing is what they can rent. And it's not 100%. We've been in this environment for a couple years, and as a realtor, that the MLS search ability is it's not 100%. We do our best to try to carve out which ones can be rented. So we have to work really closely with buyers on this. And they might see something that comes up on Zillow or Realtor.com, and they'll say, what about this? It says it's in the town of Dillon, and Dillon can short-term rent, right? And I was like, oh, that's not real Dillon. That's fake Dillon. Because it's not in the town limits of Dillon, but it's in the Dillon zip code. So it's in Summit County unincorporated. So it is... I guess I would say if you're coming into this, you're a buyer and you're coming into this and you want a short-term rental and you think you're going to go find a property on your own, I'm going to tell you it is going to be tough. You really need to bring in a professional because it's very nuanced.
When someone calls you and they're like, hey, I want to buy a second place. I live here in Denver. I want to buy a second home or ski condo or something, like, what should people know and expect when walking into this? Is it an investment? Are they going to make money? Is it a lifestyle? Like, how does that all shake out?
I have this conversation a lot, so I'm just going to give you the real general to a little bit more of the nitty gritty about what's changed in the last couple of years. So generally speaking, you're not going to make money on this. People who are investors and looking to put 20% down and cover their costs with rent for mortgage, taxes, HOA, those people are like the true investors, right? And they're looking for ways to have that immediate income thrown off the property. Well, that doesn't happen. So in Summit, generally speaking, if you pay cash, 100% cash, and you put it in a short-term rental pool, you can expect maybe 2 to 3% return after your expenses.
Wow.
Cash. Okay. It used to be that I would tell people about 50% LTV, so 50% down, 50% cash, or 50% down, 50% loan, will
Mm-hmm.
break even. In the last few years, maybe since interest rates have gone up, that number has gotten even worse. So we did some analysis. It was maybe about a year ago, and we just picked a couple Keystone units. So in the Village, River Run, Keystone, and pulled the rental income, and you needed to put down 68% to break even. So if you're doing 10 or 20% down, you're subsidizing the property.
Gotcha. So when you say break even, so explain where the income is coming from. Is this long-term rental? That doesn't make sense because you can't use it, right? Is this, midterm rental? Is this all STR, Airbnb, VRBO stuff?
So the numbers that we run are the STR, Airbnb. We get those numbers from property management companies. So we have a lot of property management companies up here that manage the short-term rentals, right? So they book the nightly bookings, they go clean the unit, they handle the keys, they handle the guests, so that the owners are pretty much hands off. They're just receiving the money. In exchange for that property management service, you're paying, about 30% of the gross rental income to the property manager. And you're also then covering your taxes and your HOA and any damages or anything that happens to the property. That's not part of the 30%. If they have to replace a toilet or something like that, you're paying for that. So those are the numbers. So the income you get from the nightly rentals that you receive, the income you receive after the property management fees is what I'm talking about.
Gotcha.
However, when you're shopping, you're going to see a lot of gross rental income. You're going to say this property can earn you $100,000 gross rental income. So if you're running your numbers off the gross rental income, you need to probably take 30% off of that, because that's what the property management company is going to take, unless you're going to rent it on your own. And I have people who do that. And so if you're trying to make the numbers work a little better, that's the first step for the secret sauce.